to fight on the landing ground.
Thank you for joining us. You are listening to A Radio, and this is The Morning Moment. Please click on the follow button on Spreaker.com. I call this piece American Politics and More. Now, I must preface this by saying I don't often delve into the depths of American politics in my podcast. There's many other people doing that. I have friends that I listen to on a regular basis that do that. But this is going to be one of those exceptions. I'm going to play a piece from Hannity, March 28, in which he interviews Devin Nunes. Devin Nunes is the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. Listen to this clip.
All right, joining me now with reaction to tonight's breaking news that the DOJ Inspector General will finally investigate potential FISA abuses by the DOJ and the FBI. He is the chairman of the House Intel Committee, and he's been frankly in the forefront while his colleagues have been lazy. Devin Nunes is with us. Congressman, I'm reaching a point of frustration here. We're talking about with these new struck page memos, this was within the 3,000 plus page dump that we finally got at the last minute that you had to subpoena. There's 1.2 million documents, Congressman, and I applaud Chairman Goodlatte, but as we just heard from Congressman Chaffetz, he asked for these documents in 2016. How is it possible that Rod Rosenstein feels that he has the right to withhold this not only from the American people, but Congress, people like you and Bob Goodlatte, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee? Your job is oversight. We do have checks and balances the last time I checked the Constitution, sir.
So the more they dig, the worse it gets for them, Sean. So we have to keep working. We have to keep breaking through this. But as I've said, eventually we're going to get all of these documents. So let me just walk back a little bit of the history that we have with Mr. Strzok and Ms. Page. In October, I asked what had happened. Didn't get any information. What had happened, between Strzok and Page. Didn't know. Had asked for, we asked, is there anything there that we need to see? Well, finally, we see a leak to the Washington Post of text messages. At that point, finally, in December, I asked DOJ to send me everything that was pertinent and relevant to our investigation. And as you know, at that time, we had informed Department of Justice that we were looking at them for FISA abuse and other matters. So they produced some of the text messages, which is fine. They did that. They said that was all we needed. Well, then a couple months later, a few more text messages show up. A couple weeks ago, there's the conversation between Mr. Strzok and Ms. Page talking about the FISA court judge. Clearly, that would have been something that the House Intelligence Committee would have been interested in. And now the emails and text messages that you're talking about today on the show, Sean, I have not seen them. However, now that you have them, we're going to have to go try to look through all this to try to piece together what it appears several reporters have now pieced together. What's
your initial impression? Do you agree with what Sarah believes and I believe?
Well, I was talking to a few members of Congress today, and these are people who don't follow this closely. They're not on the House Intelligence Committee, but they follow it just by the news, and they were shocked. They were shocked. Matter of fact, they used a few expletives because they couldn't believe that the White House, the Obama White House, was being briefed by the FBI on an investigation into the Trump campaign. They couldn't believe it. And I think that's the reaction you're going to get from most members of Congress that care about this issue, at least the Republicans. And I think you're going to see the American people.
When you have McDonough
just
and the White
House, it continues to stink.
And then you have, remember, obviously Obama knew. Obviously Susan Rice knew. Obviously James Comey was informing them. Obviously, and this is a very sticky point, because in January of 2017, then President-elect Trump was told by James Comey the dossier is salacious and unverified. But 3 months earlier, he's using it, and the FBI is using it as the bulk of an application for a FISA warrant against the campaign associate of Donald Trump in the lead up to a presidential election.
Now, in that clip, there'll be links on my site to that, but I can't guarantee how long. You heard shocking news, quite a bit, I think. The FBI were wiretapping Donald Trump. Well, we knew that, but it's still shocking. And they had no real basis to do so, which is also shocking. And And the Obama White House knew about that. And I'm guessing Obama did himself. He has lied about this on camera from the very beginning. He knew. But what is more disturbing is this. I must take issue with my friends and pundits about this who say that they will get to the bottom of this. No, they won't. No, they won't. Why can I be so sure about this? Well, fact one, it was in 2016 that they made the first request for this information. It's now 2018. There is zero excuse to hold back this information, which is a legitimate request from an official government body. Unless, fact two, they don't want the information exposed. Or, fact three, the Democrats are pinning their hopes of, and I would call it for what it is in simple terms, because I'm not a lawyer, obstruction. I call it obstruction of the process, which is surely the same as obstruction of justice. By slow walking it, by winning back at least one of the houses, that they can at least, in the worst case scenario, close the investigation down altogether, and the best case scenario for the Republicans is slow it down, leading up to the next presidential election. Another complete fight for outright control, thus covering up all their misdeeds. If they win control in November, they will immediately start proceedings on impeachment of the President of the United States, which will obviously divert interest and energy away from this investigation. Even if they fail on impeachment, which I think they will likely do, they will again have eaten up the political clock and damaged, they think, the President's chances of re-election. The Democrats dare not allow the truth to be exposed, because if they do, Obama will end up being prosecuted. It's that simple. And I want to add one more thing. And this is a thought from me. This is not written down anywhere. I believe very strongly this point, that if they manage to impeach and remove from office the President of the United States, there will be a civil unrest in the United States like you haven't seen since the 1960s. I really don't think that the Deep South and the Midwest part of the United States will stand and allow that to happen. The Democrats will have taken one step too far, and there could be even the outbreak of a civil war. It seems far-fetched, doesn't it? But I believe this could happen if the Democrats go this far. There is a fight in the United States on the West and the East Coast against the rest of America, and it's the fight for the soul of the United States. We have the same problem in Canada in different geographic zones, and our fight is coming in 2019. Your thoughts? You can find more at aradio.wordpress.com, where you can find links to us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Gab, and email. We are continuing to reach out to you, so please pass on the links. Please click on the follow button on Spreaker.com. You can listen to all my morning moments at Spreaker.com under A Radio, that's EHRADIO, A Radio, and please click on the like button. And you can find all my podcasts and morning moments at aradio.wordpress.com and click on the Morning Moments tab.